This episode of This Week in Web Series is brought to you by SpidVid.com. Connect, collaborate, and create video entertainment. Today's special guest on This Week in Web Series is Rick Mbariket of Webseries Network.com. Hello, and welcome to This Week in Web Series. This is episode 5. Our special guest today is Rick Mbariket from Webseries Network. How's it going, Rich?
It's going well. Chris, Travis, thank you for having me on the 5th episode of your show. I'm glad to be here, man.
Yeah, glad to have you on. We also have
Great to have you.
we also have Chris Greenaway from Venus Spa here again.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Okay, so we've got lots of topics today. The first being, Rich, tell us about yourself and how you got into the web series world, and actually I'll put my headphones on, and also tell us about why you started Webseries Network and how it can help us as creators.
Okay, my name is Rick Mbariket. I am the founder of WebseriesNetwork.com. We are an online web series community based out of Los Angeles. I have a film background. I actually have a bachelor's degree in film production from Cal State University, Northridge. I graduated in 2004. And from there, I decided to, it's kind of like the birth of the internet when YouTube started around that 2004, 2005-ish. And I started creating music videos to, build my reel. Did a few spec commercials here and there. And I decided to start creating like episodic shows. So I wrote a web series, put it online. It was during that time that I started looking for an online community where I could meet other people who were creating the same thing. So I couldn't find it. And that's just kind of like how WSN started.
Right.
I created it based on my own needs. And we've grown since.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was the same thing. I was looking sort of for a community online, maybe to share advice. And that's when I came across your website. And I'm like, wow, what a great idea. And I've been on there ever since.
Cool. Thanks for having me. Always good to have you on. And you're a huge contributor, you and Chris. And I love seeing you guys on that site.
Yeah, well, for me personally, I really found it valuable when I was doing my Indiegogo campaign. And you and I were talking about the campaign and how to do it and how to drum up support. And I found it was a great tool for me for doing that.
Okay, what did you learn from that?
I wanted to try to do an Indiegogo campaign because I saw a lot of other web series were being successful with it, and I was just asking people on WSN, their advice on how I could, get people to contribute, and I was trying out videos with characters on my show to try to get people to donate, and then I would test it on the people on WSN and ask for their advice on it. And you were giving me great advice at the time, so I really appreciated the site.
Oh, you're welcome.
I've gotten into a lot of the industry discussions and a lot of the different viewpoints on various aspects of the industry on both ends of the border, and it's always been very stimulating.
Yeah, I like Webseries Network because it's a different group of creators there with interesting voices and interesting ideas. For instance, your discussions and blog posts about pushing your web series offline has been a fresh viewpoint. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, I always try to encourage. I always, kind of look at it like, what if the internet did not exist? I mean, would you stop being a creator? How else would you get your work out there if there were no internet, if there were no Twitter or no Facebook? And I come from a generation of just everything happened offline. Everything happened offline. If you had something to sell, you take your product to the people and you say, hey, this is what I've got. This is how you can get it. This is how much it costs. So I try to, I try to honestly use social media as a supplement to online marketing. So I think it's important to get in front of people and, because ultimately it's a product for sale. I know a lot of people don't look at creatives that they don't look at shows as a product for sale, but to me, it's a product for sale first. But in order for you to sell your product, people have to be aware that it exists.
I got a question for you on that front, Rich. Explain, give us a rundown of what you like to do when you advertise offline. Is it a case of postering? Is it putting out ads in magazines, or what's your method of choice when it comes to doing that?
I usually don't do a lot of posting. I mean, I tried that before when I went out and put posters up at telephone poles or at Starbucks trying to reach people, and I kind of got a little traffic through there. But ultimately, I think it's just getting in front of people because it's your personality that sells. So that's why I try to attend, anything that's like offline web series event. I'm a huge part of, the LA Web Fest that's done annually, and also the Marseille Web Fest now that's coming up in Marseille, France. So I think ultimately it's just about getting in front of your intended audience. And in our business, there really isn't that many offline activity or offline events catering to web series creators. And that's what I start to build, because if it's not out there, someone has to create it. So
I guess the question I have on that front is, what do you use? Like, do you have like cards, business cards, or is it flyers, or what do you normally use when you're reaching people in that fashion? Like, or is it something where you hand things out? Is it how just for the benefit of viewers that haven't done this before, what do you prefer? What do you like to do most?
Well, what I've started doing now is I just give them the magazines. Yeah, I just give people the magazines.
So this is a magazine called Webseries Network, or
this is the WSN magazine, and we are currently in our third issue, coming out next month. So now we're in so many places now, and it's just in our third issue. We are in the studio system. We are in Sony. We are in Warner Brothers. We are in all these places and all these entertainment-oriented facilities.
Awesome.
So
now, WSN magazine, is this a monthly publication or is it a quarterly? How often can people expect to get it?
Right now, this is actually going to be our last quarterly issue. I started the magazine in April, and it's a quarterly issue, but based on the success of the magazine, starting in January, we're going to become a bi-monthly issue, releasing 6 issues a year. So this is our last issue, and it comes out in October. It's going to run until December, and then starting in January, become a 2-month publication that comes out every 2 months.
Excellent.
Now, how does that work? So do I have to pay for it, or is it free? Is it ad supported?
Well, the magazine itself is advertising supported, but we hand it for free to the public.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
The newspapers are going that route out here. We've got two of our 3 major papers up where I come from are free during the week, and the only thing they sell there, the only time they sell it is on for Sundays or Saturdays. So it seems to be the trend these days, going giving it away for free and just supporting it with ads.
Yeah, and I think you reach more people by doing it that way too. Because the advertiser doesn't have to worry about, well, Rich, why am I going to advertise on your magazine? What if people don't buy?
Yeah.
We tell them, we don't have to worry about that. We give this.
No one's buying it, but they're reading it.
Yeah, but they're reading it. So you give them for free to the public, and we just support it through advertising and sponsorships.
That's how, there's publications up here, we used to be an old underground newspaper, now it's a little more mainstream, called the Georgia Straits, and I believe the Village Voice has done the same way. And up here we have Uptown Magazine here in Winnipeg, and there's these small papers that cover the street scene and the independent music and whatnot. All seem to have been doing this for decades, and it seems like the rest of traditional media is just starting to catch up to that.
Now, is this something that you could only do in a big city? Because I'm from a small town. This is pretty much. Is this the offline thing works better if you're in New York or Toronto or LA?
No, not really. Not really. The offline thing works. You see, all this has to. It always starts with the creator identifying who his audience is.
Right.
So it's not so much about offline. it's about who is your audience.
Right.
Okay? This thing is flickering. Hello?
Hello?
I still got you. I can still hear you.
I got you too.
So it's all about your audience. So if you're creating a web series for bartenders, there are bars all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's about you going to where your audience is, wherever you are. You don't have to wait until you move to LA or New York. You pick out, identify where your audience are in your geographic location and take your show to them.
Yeah.
You can't wait for them to come to you. You have to take your stuff to them. And then you draw them in through social media activities. Oh, by the way, guys, we are also on Facebook. If you want to hear about us, please like our fan page. Or if you want to hear about us, please follow us on Twitter, and we'll keep you updated. So it's your personality that sells you. No one cares about the freaking product, dude. It's your personality. If someone likes you, they're gonna follow what you do. But you have to get in front of people and talk to them about your stuff.
Yeah, I hear you.
I got a question for you in regards in kind of in the same realm here. When you're talking about bringing things to an audience, for instance, putting up posters for your product. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on postering like specific locations? Like if you're in, like you mentioned, bars for a show about bartenders. Mm-hmm. Is that something that could work for, let's say, a new creator that has an idea and a concept and wants to promote it in their center?
Well, I think, you see, the thing with that is the new creator has to get permission from the bar owner. You just can't go and put something up without their permission. So when you go up there, you kind of talk to them and say, well, if you don't mind, I would like to have this up for 30 days. You know what I mean? Or I'd like to have it up for a couple of weeks. Just kind of let them know the duration of how long it is. Otherwise, they're going to take it down themselves. So when you talk to the owner, you don't need to have a contract, just a verbal agreement. Okay, I'll be back 30 days from today to take it down. At least you've been there for 30 days for free. So it comes down to you, getting in, like I said, being in front of people, talking to them about your stuff, and putting it out there.
Okay. Now, what are you putting up? What are you putting on the poster? Like your web series and where you can find it, or what?
Well, it's whatever you're marketing. If your web series is what you're marketing, that's what you're going to put up. But at the same time, you're going to have to work with the owner of the establishment so you don't infringe on their business. He's not going to have you put it up in front of the door. He may say, okay, this is an appropriate place for it. Or you guys might talk and kind of like meet each other in the middle on the best place to put your poster that generates foot traffic.
Right. So for a show like Spell Fury, where maybe comic book fans might like the show, I would go to a comic book store owner and say, hey, can I put up a Spell Fury poster for the season finale up for 30 days, and then I'll come get it later?
Yes. Listen, it's all about just asking. You can get a lot just by just asking politely. Hey, help me out here. I'll tell people about your store.
Right.
Because he's going to want something too. You know what I mean? I'll tell people about your store. I tell all my friends to come here and shop. But, I think this is going to be a cool place. What do you think? Can I put it here? If he says, yeah, sure, you put it there. You stamp it up, then you keep it moving.
Right.
Here's something that adds to that. Now, this might be for people who actually have money, but I'm wondering what your thoughts on this. Where I come from, at restaurants and bars and other establishments, you can pay money to have advertisements at stalls and urinals.
Oh, yeah.
At stalls where?
When you go to a bathroom in a restaurant or a bar here, or a lounge here in Winnipeg, is that the case in where you come from there, Travis? Or?
Well, I've heard of that where there'll be banners on the back of the bathroom stall doors, like video, like where it plays ads. But imagine people are sitting down in the bathrooms and watching your web series as they're doing their business.
That's what I mean. I'm wondering, do you think that's something viable to buy, like even if it's just poster space in these in washrooms, like other advertisers tend to do right now?
But the thing is, why do you want to put a poster in a washroom? It's
a captive audience.
What if it was toilet?
Listen,
the
guys,
web series.
guys, listen. If you're putting up a poster of your web series in the toilet at a bar that doesn't open until what, 10 o'clock at night, the people who are going in there like 80% drunk, they may not even they may look at the picture, but they're not gonna sit there and start trying to figure out what your website is or what your, I don't know, man. It's something that I wouldn't do.
Okay.
You know, I see ads in bathroom stalls. I don't pay attention to them.
Right. Okay. It's just I've noticed a lot of advertisements in washrooms, and I'm wondering if that was a viable option here too.
We could put Spell Fury toilet paper.
Rather have it in front of the freaking door. Have it somewhere. Have them have the bartenders wear your T-shirt for crying out loud. But
right.
Not inside of the stall.
No.
I mean, yeah, I don't know about that one.
Okay. That one's a little out there, Chris, but
it's a thought. It's something that's out there. It's become a popular tool for advertising these days out here. So.
Now I know business cards. I usually do most of my promoting online, but there's been cases where I've met like a multi-millionaire who wants to know about my show, and I don't have a card, and it's just like. It's like a no-brainer. I should get cards made. It's like offline stuff can really help you.
I'm telling you, and that's a big mistake too. You walking around not having a business card.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
You gotta at least have 10 in your wallet every single day.
Yeah.
But you don't know who's gonna run into. I mean, the thing is, you still the online stuff that we're doing is good, but when I'm done here, I gotta go offline and live my life. Mm-hmm. So you still do most of your living offline. So you always want to you always want to be prepared at all times. The least you can do is have a business card on you. That's the least you can do.
Yeah. See, I the way I see it is I'm in a small little town, so I don't really need one, but it's surprisingly I meet people all the time who are interested and maybe want to be an investor and I don't have a card, so I'll go tomorrow.
you see, but the thing is, not only do you give them, you got to take theirs too.
Yeah.
You know, press to take their card because there may not be a guarantee that they'll reach out to you. But if you take their card, it's for sure you're going to reach out to them and remind them about you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So it's not just handing out yours and be like, hey, check me out on Facebook. No, take theirs.
Yeah. And bug them to watch it.
Now, here's a question regarding business cards. Now, what's more important, in the information itself, or does it need to really be eye-catching so people remember it? Or remember to hang on to
it? You see, the thing about business cards is simplicity is always more effective than something that has so much going on. Simplicity. Okay. Your show, your name, your website. That's good. Cool. You know, you keep it simple. Your name, your business, your website, a number to get a hold of you. Your business card is not something for you to advertise every scene or the photos that you took on set on your business. No one cares about that.
Okay.
You know, so the more simple that you keep it, my business card just has Webseries Network on it. You flip it over, you see Rick Mbariket, and you see, I usually don't put my number because I don't want people calling me, bugging me, so I just put my email.
Right.
Okay. If I really want you to call me, I'll write my number on it.
Right.
And be like, give me a call. Or I just take yours and then give you a call.
Okay.
Right.
All right, here's a quickie of my card here. It's kind of backwards, but that's kind of what mine looks like.
I like that.
It's got my name.
Now I can read. That's legible. You see, that's legible. I can read that.
My name of my company, my email, maybe a little bit of a tagline, and just my contact information.
So Rich, I'd like to ask you about how to monetize a web series. I got a sponsor. I had Coors Light for the last episode of Spell Fury, and I have a new sponsor. And so I've been playing with sponsors and ad revenue and all sorts of stuff, and I'd love to hear your opinion. But first, we're going to do talk about our sponsor, Spidvid.com. Their motto is create, collaborate, and make video entertainment. And
yes.
And yeah, so and Rich, you've never used Spidvid before.
No, I'm aware of them, but I've never used that platform.
Okay, so how it works is basically you make a profile page, and if you had an idea for a web series about I don't know, maybe a bar towel for bartenders. We were talking about that earlier. In the series, it's a animated bar towel thing. You would submit a project on spidvid.com, and you would ask, you would be looking for people to help you out on that. You might need an animator, you might need a composer, you might need, you know, someone to promote it, and you check all these boxes of people that you need to help you out on your show, and people will start to bid to get onto that project. So I know, Chris, you've used it before.
Yes.
And the great thing is if you just want to be an actor, you just say, I just want to be an actor, and you'll start getting emails from potential projects asking you, you know, to bid on a project as an actor. So it's a really good tool for actually making, you know, getting a start, meeting new people, getting people on board for free. I met a guy, Darren, who's an excellent composer, and he composed some music for me for free just to get in the credits. So, yeah, it's a great site. Chris and I did Women in Web Series on it.
Yes, where we collaborate with, what was it? It ended up being a combination of 3 different shows, technically 4, I understand. And we were able to put it all together. Did you edit it, Travis, or did we outsource that on Spidvid as well?
I edited it, but we had someone working on the intro in After Effects. It was working on that, yeah, and Jeremy actually was the producer on that from Spidvid, yeah, it was great to meet new people, because it's tough. It's tough sometimes. Like, for instance, on Spell Fury, I'm like the writer, the director, the editor. I do the visual effects, so it's nice to have people come in and help. Yeah,
it is, and it's a lot of times you're not in a large center where there's a lot of people that do things like this, and it's if you can get somebody from a remote location that isn't near you that can still help you, this is a good place to do it. Yeah.
And with Chris, Chris shot his actresses in front of a green screen, and then he sent it to me. And then the guy from Vexica, Dan Stewart, and his wife, he shot his wife in front of a green screen, sent me the footage, and then I put it all together as a collaboration video. And Spidvid also has a place to put videos when you're done. They have their own site called Unleashed Videos. So when the project's done, they'll promote it for you too and put it on there. So it's a great service. So yeah, if you're making a web series, great place to go. Check out the talent. Pitch a project. I can't say enough about these guys. They're amazing, and we love that they're sponsoring the show. And yeah, so check out Spidvid.
It's also a good place to cut your teeth, where you can just join someone else's project and help. Even if you're contributing on a low level, you still get getting the credits. You know, add to your resume, whatnot. So if you're in an area where you don't have anything where you can't really make a show because you can't really get anybody, but you want to help with someone else's to get started, so you can learn a bit more and maybe do it yourself later down the road, you can do that too. So it's definitely a good tool for both creators and for just talent and workers. You know, if you just want to, you just get a toe in the door. It's a good place to go.
Okay, so we were talking about monetizing a web series, and Rich is going to put in his 2 cents and tell us, because I've read some posts of yours, and you've always had some great ideas about this type of stuff.
I think there are several ways that you could monetize your web series. Some people are going the route of crowdfunding, which, if you've been following me for the last 3 years, you know that I'm not a big fan.
Right.
Because some people do it graciously and some do it shamefully. So it's just a matter of whatever works for you. As far as like crowdfunding goes, go for it. I'm always huge for testing things out.
Right.
But I'm not necessarily a big fan of the medium of crowdfunding. Another thing too is also sponsorships and advertising, like we've all been talking about. That's a little bit more difficult though, because the advertiser is going to want return on his or her investment. So if your show isn't aimed directly at the advertiser's customers, forget about it. And that's why it's always important. And I do consulting on web series on the side, and first thing I ask creators when they ask me the same question is, who is your audience? Believe it or not, 8 out of 10 don't know.
Right.
They don't know who their audience is. And I'm like, well, if you don't even know who your own audience is, then how do you expect to get sponsorships or get advertising? So that's always a struggle, is identifying who your audience is, okay? And then, of course, going after the brands or the local businesses or regional businesses that are looking at reaching your audience, because your audience equals their customer. So if your show is aimed at their customer, why are they not going to come to you and be like, hey, you know what? Here's $100, $200, whatever, you help us out, get us out there as best as you can. But it all comes down to you helping the advertiser reach his customer through your show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Like if a sponsor gives you, let's say, $1,000, they expect to make $2,000 back. They want to make a profit, so you have to.
Well, it's not really. Well, I guess you're right. You know, of course you want to double your investment, so you're right.
Yeah, and if you don't, if they spend $1,000 and they only get $500 in sales from the $1,000 they give you, they're not going to go for another episode. Yeah.
They're not, because the advertiser is a businessman. He cares about selling his product. He cares about having customers come into his or her restaurant. He's got a business to run. You know, you have a show to produce, but your show in a way is also your business. So it has to be beneficial to that person to come on board with you. Why do you think television cancels shows that are underperforming?
Right.
And there's also the concept of getting as many people to that advertiser as possible to maximize the opportunity for them to make more money. And what comes, the next part that I wanted to get to is also the size of your audience. Right.
Okay? And the size of your influence and the size of your reach. People want to come to business with me, and if you look on WSN, we're currently working with a radio company right now that's offering free advertisements to our members.
I saw that.
They come to do business with me because they know that I have the audience that they're looking for.
Right.
Okay.
And it's a case of casting a really big net.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not everybody that comes to want to do a business with WSN that I take on. I've turned down more people than I've taken on because I just don't want to be used. We are not a billboard. You know, you have to really have something that helps my community in order for me to say, okay, I'll partner with you. And I think, yeah. So, and I think with the radio, with the OneClub.fm, addictedtoradio.com membership, it's a win-win situation. We get to help them get publicity. They get to help our members get publicity for their show.
Right.
And as big an audience as you can get for the maximum amount of performance is what you're going for, basically. You want to reach as many people to be able to bring as many people.
Yeah. You see, the thing is, when you're working with these companies or these brands, your job, you can't guarantee that that soda pop is going to sell 50,000 more bottles if you come with me. You can't guarantee that. The only thing you can guarantee is your numbers.
Right.
You know what? I don't know if anyone's going to buy this soda pop, but I can guarantee you that my episode gets 20,000 views per episode.
Right.
So you're going to be seen by 20,000 people just based on your history. So that's where numbers also comes into play, because they're going to ask you for your numbers.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're able to show them your numbers and say, okay, what I can guarantee you is viewership. Just like with WSN, I can guarantee that I'm going to put you in front of web series people. Whether they come to you or not, I have no control over. What I have control over is you get to be on WSN, I get to blast it on our site, I get to put it on our Facebook page that has almost 15,000 people. So that's the link that I can do.
Thousands on Twitter.
Huh?
The thousands you have on Twitter as well, and
yeah, and then
YouTube, subscribers. It all snowballs to a giant number.
It does. it's numbers. At the end of the day, it's numbers, and anyone who knows what they're doing as far as like business is gonna tell you that it comes down to your audience and it comes down to your reach. So if you're just creating a show that has 5 people and all 5 are your family, don't even focus. Don't even worry about sponsors. Worry about growing your audience. So when I encourage creators to get out there and market, and believe it or not, I know people don't want to hear this, it takes money to make money.
Yeah, so it helps.
Here's a question for you on that front, Rich. When you're building your audience or whatnot, and you're building your show, the project itself, looking for people that can help maximize your viewership would be a greater plus than people that might not. Like, for instance, if you're casting actors with a tremendously high Twitter following, or let's say I have a chance to cast an actor and they have like 10,000 Twitter followers, and a very comparable number on Facebook, or in the 1,000+ subscribers realm on YouTube. That would potentially increase the viewership of my project, would it not? That would be a win-win. So that could become a good investment.
Oh, absolutely. And it goes back to when you look at magazines, who's selling products? The celebrities that are selling products. They're not. These companies aren't going to Tom Cruise because they like his face. They're going to Tom Cruise because Tom Cruise has a following.
We like his face.
Not necessarily because they like him as a person. They're going to him because he has a following. So, just like you saying, if you are and for instance, a good example, any web series that any kind of celebrity is in always gets press.
Yeah.
And from a press standpoint, absolutely. But at the same time, if you can't get an actual celebrity or an A-lister, but getting someone with a strong following, like let's say YouTubers, like let's say Naders07 up in Vancouver, or Shane Dawson, guess what? Would bring a large audience as well, right?
Well, guess what though? Those guys are celebrities. They're internet celebrities.
Yeah. But you get what I mean, though. It's a wide spectrum. So people that can significantly increase your viewership, are a wise investment.
Now that actually gets.
If you can get them, by all means, go for it.
Well, that actually goes into my next topic about YouTube, Rich. What are your feelings on what's going on there?
You know what? I love YouTubers. I love YouTubers. They actually inspire me and they motivate me. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the camaraderie that YouTubers have as a community is what I'm trying to bring into the web series community. And if you look at these if you look at these YouTubers, they just from my observation and my research, they bond together.
Yeah.
And they help each other and they support each other's events. There's this thing called VidCon.com that they do. It's an annual yearly conference that they're currently, actually they wrap the second year it's every summer. So they're going on to their third
that's right.
The third season next year. This isn't something that was created by some executive in a suit and tie. This is something that a couple of YouTubers, an idea that they came up with and said, hey, why don't we just rent a hotel and get a bunch of YouTubers together and let's just celebrate being YouTubers.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, that's not the first time. This started a few years ago, back in 07 or 08 in Toronto. That was the first big one, which was a meetup of YouTubers. It was essentially the same thing as VidCon, but they did it was the 8808 and then 9909, and then they went to which snowballed into VidCon, which became
huge.
It's huge. To the point where it's as big as Dragon Con. It might catch SDCC very soon, which is San Diego Comic Con.
Yes.
I agree.
I agree. It's coming. I mean, it's snowballing so fast, and it's so effective because these YouTubers actually come and get to meet. Number one, they get to meet other YouTubers, and number two, they get to meet their fans. If you saw the one that they did last week, I put it up on WSN. There were fans lining up.
Absolutely.
To meet Shane Dawson, to meet the Shane Dawsons of YouTube.
The panels were off the charts. The theater was, every theater was pretty close to full for all of the videos I've seen. The LG 15.
And these are paying to come to this thing. They're paying.
Oh, really?
Right. It was like $300 to get in for just a casual weekend pass for the early.
But guess what? The web series creator complains about paying $5 to go to LA Web Fest and watch a screening. So that's what upsets me in a way. People see the way that I am, and I'm so aggressive with content creators. Is you got this young YouTuber paying $300 to go meet their fans and meet each other, and you're complaining about paying $5. $5.
Tube filter meetups are about $10, which is reasonable considering.
Mine is 25.
That's a reasonable price on both counts. There's no excuse for paying it if you want to put up these events.
Listen, because the thing about it is, this location, people don't understand that this location, it's costing me $100 an hour to rent space.
Yeah.
To bring people together.
Doing business.
You know, that's just the way it is. You gotta, you know, if someone is going, and these YouTubers that are doing these events, it's not free at these hotels. They actually pay to organize.
That couldn't be cheap what they're putting on. There's no way that's cheap. Especially I hear they're moving to the Anaheim Convention Center next year, which
I don't blame it because they've outgrown.
Okay, what was that, guys?
I'm trying. My thing is, and you know, the web series events are actually getting better now. You look at the LA Web Fest that happens every year in Los Angeles, and I think the first event maybe 500 people came, and then the second event like 2,000 people came. So it's actually growing, and now they're having the spin-off web series festivals like the Marseille Web Fest that's coming up in France next month. So this is something that I'm always happy and excited to be a part of from its infancy. I'm not one of those kind of guys that waits until something becomes established because I'm like, hey, what can I do? No. You have to help lay the foundation and help grow it. So This is something that I feel like creators should start going and becoming more and more of a part of. Attend these festivals, attend these meetups, because one day the meetups are going to roll over and become conventions.
Yeah.
You know?
That raises a really good point that I want to make. I mentioned this in last week's show, but YouTubers figured this out right away. Together, their numbers go from good numbers to great numbers to incredible numbers. It's a spider web effect where everything is attached, and they figured out that helping each other improved the quality and quantity of the industry tenfold. And I think that I'm not going to hate on anyone in particular. I think it's an industry thing more than it is anything else. Is that us as creators of so-called scripted shows, meaning not something that would be considered the same realm as a YouTuber like a Phil DeFranco or a Shane Dawson. Their style is a little different than this. Like an actual episodic show, we can learn from that, and we can help each other the way they do, and I think we can embrace YouTubers the same way. There shouldn't even be a line in the sand. We should all be together.
You know the big difference between YouTubers and us is when I look at YouTubers, I see real people. These people could be your next door neighbor. But coming from the entertainment background where it's so messed up, you always feel, I remember when I first came to LA, I wanted to be an actor. Okay? And you go on this audition, it's just an audition. It's just an audition. Actors won't talk to each other.
Right.
That is the weirdest thing.
Guess what? Oh, you're coming to take my spot. And I'm like, I'm just here to audition. They won't even talk to each other. So
that's why
the competitive element is there already. So we need to eliminate the competitive element and introduce a collaborative element into what we're doing as web series creators. We're no different than the YouTuber getting 1 million views. The only difference between him and us is they are working together as an industry.
Yeah.
Wow. You're more of an individual.
And the thing that I get out of it is that, you see, if I watch, let's say I watch, I don't know, Lisa Nova, a Lisa Nova video, right? She's doing a video and she's got a bunch of other people in her station. I'm not taking views away from other people that she works with. Because there's a very good chance that she's going to have some advertisements for all of her buddies at the beginning or end of her videos, and she definitely has them on her channel. So once I watch her newest, I can go watch Kasim G's newest, or I can go watch Shay Carl's newest, and it spirals from there. So I'm not only watching her, but I'm watching the others. So they're not competing. I mean, technically, you could, when Mashable does their rankings, you could claim they are, but I'm watching lots of other people's videos that are with her circle, because she's done such a great job of cultivating that, and others are doing that as well. So you're not just watching one, you're watching lots of people. And I think that that's something we need to figure out. Celebrities and the big networks aren't going to take views away from us. I really don't believe that, because people are going to be watching lots of stuff, and that means there's going to be chances to see you. And as long as we understand that there's always opportunities for us to be seen, if we position ourselves in the right places and be as open to collaboration and to just working together as humanly possible, we can get over that hump and we can get as big as the YouTubers, and I think all of us can coexist together. And it's a monstrous pie, folks. There's lots to go out and get, but help each other and you'll help yourself.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time that there's no such thing as competition in the web space.
That's right.
There is competition in the web space, because anyone can go online. The difference between people who succeed and people who fail are those who put in the work.
Right.
And do the groundwork. That's the difference. When you're getting out there are people right now that I know that I have, that I try as much as I can to promote them in things that I do. I put them in a magazine. I put them in, whatever I do, just kind of promote them, just because they also contribute to WSN. So when I tell people, if you want to get Rick Mbariket to pay attention to you, become a part of my community.
Right.
Right.
You're not going to sit there and be like, hey, can you put me in your magazine? And I'm like, who are you?
Right. It's that the bird poop thing, where you just don't want a seagull to come in and poop there. You want the bird to stay for a while.
It's like this unspoken etiquette, man. You got to support other people to be supported. For instance, WSN. We are in all these places. WSN magazine.
Right.
We are in all these places as a result of my relationships with our members. Not as a result of my relationship with an executive at Sony.
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't know me, who I don't know. It's someone who works at Sony who got us into Sony, and he's a member of WSN.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah. I guess it's the more you give to the community, the more you get back.
Right.
It's just the way it is. It's just business etiquette. It's personal etiquette as well. You know what I mean? You can't come wanting to take all the time. I get hundreds of emails every day. People wanting interviews. People wanting me to come to their events. People wanting me to come have come to a premiere lunch party. And I'm like, are you a member of my site?
Right.
No. Well, I'm not going. I don't tell them that, but I got shit to do.
Right.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
So,
and I think YouTubers are like that too. It's like, they get tight and they help each other out. Like Chris and I do that a lot with our shows on YouTube. Chris will put little mentions in his show that say Spell Fury actually in his show, and
They hit shout outs.
Yep. And when he releases a new episode, I'll put it up on my channel, like that first day, and he'll do the same on with my show. So we try to help each other out as much as we can when we promote.
A lot of this is directly taken from YouTubers.
Yeah, and it's not really a hard thing to do. It starts with just one person.
Yeah.
Hey, I like your show. What can we do for each other?
Yeah.
there's
and then it snowballs from there. It expands from there.
Yeah.
There's another thing that I've learned on YouTube. Now, this is native to YouTube because they're the only video channel that actually allows this type of a function, and that is a box, or also known as a Hall of Fame, where you put people from other channels that you want people to check out. Now, there was a time when sub for sub was a catchphrase on YouTube, but box for box is not necessarily a dirty word. Why? Because you put someone's channel on your box, and in exchange they would do the same for you. So when people subscribe to your channel, they can have the option of subscribing to the people in the box automatically, and it gives you free exposure on their channel. So they'll see your little description of your show and your icon or logo, and people will. It's free advertisement. It's like having a banner ad on somebody's on other people's YouTube channels, and it's not a dirty word to do that. That's not spamming. That's getting the word out, and that's giving people a chance. You're driving your traffic to other people's channels that you think are cool, and it can help you.
You know what? But another thing too, Chris, that I wanted to add before we go is it's about building strong relationships.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that I know who only need me when it's time to promote a show. People like that I don't pay attention to. You know what I mean? And then there are people that, I don't want anyone to take me to lunch. I don't want anyone to take me to, but occasionally shoot me an email to say, hey, how you doing? How's WSN? You know what I mean? Like, you got to keep that going.
Yeah.
So, because we all have lives. We all are busy. We all have things going on. For instance, Michael Ajakwe, the guy, the executive director of the LA Web Fest, he and I talk on occasion. 90% of the time, it's about web series.
Sure.
But I still kind of keep in touch with him. He keeps in touch with me, let him know that he likes what I'm doing, and I let him know, hey, I support you. That is kind of like how you do. And now I've known the guy for almost 3 years now. And he's connecting me to other people that I wouldn't have otherwise have known. And I'm doing the same for him. So it's all about good, strong, sustainable relationship, and just not a one-off.
It all comes together.
Thing. Yes.
It all does. It's all encompassing. I mean, things like for me, I accept box for boxes on YouTube because it gets a foot in the door for me to talk to them, and it allows me to say, "Hey, how you going?" I click on them and then post in their comments, "Hey, happy Friday," that kind of stuff. And I'll do that. Happy Hump Day, Happy Friday. Hope you're having a good long weekend. Just to keep people, hey, how are things? And I do that with my channel comments. But having those boxes helps because then you can just click on it and go straight to them and check them out because it's out of sight, out of mind, right? And so if you see them and they're around you on a regular basis, so it helps. So what you do is try to get as many people close to you where you can do that readily as you can. Okay. And because there's only so many hours in the day, right?
Now we're running out of time, but I know, Chris, you wanted to get Rich's opinion on the "Jobs is dead" tweet that where Shira lost her job, which you can check out on Webseriesnetwork.com. I believe it's on the main page, Rich.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, this was a real hot topic coming out of the weekend, and was What's Trending, which was on CBS at the time, posted a news report that Steve Jobs had passed on. As it turned out, no, he had not, and they did not have any confirmation. As a result, CBS moved very swiftly and basically cut them loose rather quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what your thoughts on what happened was, and I don't know how much you followed it at the time, but what happened?
I think that she just, because you know how you have like the overzealous cop, you know what I mean? She just happened to be an overzealous so-called new media guru. She just got trigger happy, sat there in her, God knows where she was sitting, and wrote something that was completely false, knowing that it could jeopardize her show and jeopardize her relationship with one of the one of the best entertainment platforms out there, and also kind of put a little tarnished her name in a way. Because here's the deal: this is just a vintage case of greed. She did this to drive traffic to the show. That's all it is. Because it came from.
Oh, that was the case. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, he drove traffic to the show. He also got her fired. Now she has no show.
Well, I think what we found out here is that not all good pub is good pub. I mean, because here's the thing: when you're talking about a guy like Steve Jobs, in the web world, in the computer world, is there a more beloved figure than Steve Jobs? And if you're going to say something like that about Steve Jobs, you better be hearing it from his wife or his lawyers, because if you don't, you're basically dissing.
That aside, forget about the show. Let's just forget about her, forget about the show, forget about CBS. Just from a human standpoint,
yes.
Someone is tweeting that you're dead when in fact you're watching TV. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
What are you doing? Like, dude, what are you doing? Do you need the traffic that bad? Also, the thing with her is the show is called What's Trending, but it's supposed to be a web series interviewing people about current events. So I don't know. Did she go from that to being a news breaker?
Right.
Or someone to be the first out there? So I really don't know. So it came back, like I said, it's just a matter of greed that came back and really bit her.
It's really my take on it is that they made a mistake that citizen journalists have been making for a while in recent years, and that is hearing it from somebody in their Twitter feed. So and so just died. I just heard so and so, and that becomes their source. Worst example of this was, I know you remember this, when Perez Hilton broke the story that supposedly Fidel Castro had died.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire international media flocked to PerezHilton.com, and I'm sure that benefited him quite a bit in terms of being able to say, guess how many views I got, but he was through his teeth.
Perez has the luxury to do that because Perez doesn't have a boss. So even if it's false, you're right. He's a journalist to drive traffic, and people have always known Perez isn't something everyone knows Perez. You know, you can either believe him or you don't believe him. People don't go because they believe Perez. You just go to see what he writes about. So
right.
Whether the Fidel Castro, Perez is not CNN, so no one really cares what he has to say about Castro. But when you got someone who's working for CBS, has a partnership with CBS, you have to be a little bit careful with the tweets that you send out, because you're sitting there in your bedroom sending out a tweet to the whole world, okay? But you are in your bedroom. You're the only one there. But once that thing goes out, the world sees it. So you don't have that kind of luxury to be able to say or do what you want to. You have to be a little bit professional about that. So I just think that Shira got excited. And that's pretty it. She's young, I'm sure she's gonna learn from this mistake and not do it again. And keep your eye on the ball. What's Trending is a web series that talks to people behind. Focus on that. Don't try to be a CNN. Don't try to be a Fox News. Don't try to be what you're not. And I think what she did was she got excited. She took her eyes off the ball, and this is the repercussion. She's gonna bounce back. She's a talented person. She's going to bounce back from this. I want her to bounce back and recover from this. But it's just something that you just don't do, and hopefully she learns from it.
She's got to do her research from now on.
Remember, I want to flash back to about 6 years ago. If you remember when, this is also on CBS, when Dan Rather reported George Bush's draft record. And it turned out that he had a source that gave him false information.
And then what happened?
He didn't last a year after that. He was gone less than 8 months after.
Because check this out. These media brands like CBS, they have a reputation to protect. They're not gonna let a web series creator or Dan Rather ruin that.
Yeah, if Dan Rather doesn't survive that, what chance do you have?
So the executives made a swift decision. She has to go. Not only is the show gone, every trace of her on the CBS interactive interface gone.
They don't mess around there.
They don't mess around, and you know,
it's almost right.
One thing is, you give a guy like me that kind of opportunity, I will not blow it because I know where I came from. The same thing that the streamers did, they blew a golden opportunity with what they did at the second Streamy Awards.
Right.
So and I look at these people like, what are you thinking? Like that, the Streamy Awards could have been probably the biggest thing that happened to web series ever.
Right. It ended up being the ultimate facepalm moment.
I'm telling you, they got excited. A bunch of young kids. I'm not that old. I'm 33 years old, but that's a dog. You know what I mean? So you got to understand that when you're given a golden opportunity like Shira had, and the streamies, and then when they throw it away, sometimes it's hard to recover from that, man. I mean, I want her to go out and win. The streamies, I can't say so because I don't like them at all.
Right.
You know, I don't want them to ever come back. But Shira, I want her to go out and win and learn her lesson.
Now, Rich, how do you feel about just before we finish? How do you feel about the IAW TV Awards?
You know what? I know what's going on behind the scenes, and I've made the decision not to put up too much on WSN anymore like I used to.
Okay.
But I just think it's crap. It's not something that I co-sign. It's not something that I would ever support. I know why they're doing it. They know why they're doing it. And I think sooner or later the web series community are going to know as well. But it's not something that I would... I'm not even paying attention to them. What do you think?
I like that they split apart from TubeFilter, because the whole Streamies thing being tied to a for-profit company, I didn't. And then after the big disaster with Streamies 2 or the year 2, I have respect for them that they've pulled apart and become their own entity, and they're not with TubeFilter anymore.
But TubeFilter people are still on the board of directors.
Yeah, well, a lot of them left.
They're down to one.
One left.
Who's left?
I believe, isn't it like Josh Cohen or something? I hope somebody chimes in on that one, but I thought it was now Josh Cohen. Oh, no, sorry, it was Drew Baldwin now who is the one remaining. He's the legacy guy. He's the remnant of what used to be 5 of them on the board. Now they only have the one, and it's not the chairman of the board.
And I heard Elizabeth Flack quit too.
I don't know what's going on with that, to be honest. I haven't really been following. I just knew I got the resignation email. I think most everyone did, but I haven't heard anything about it since because I haven't really been paying attention. But yeah, TubeFilter, they exist there in name only. I really don't think they care about the IAW TV Awards.
No,
I think much more concerned with their own.
Now, Chris, are they going to do another Streamies? I thought I heard something.
Yes, they hooked up with Dick Clark Productions,
right,
to produce it. But right as far as we know now from press releases and announcements, they have a backer and a producer. Well, I guess I don't know if it's a backer or not, but it's certainly an opportunity to get more backers if they have Dick with them. And they have Dick Clark Productions, but so far that's all we know. They don't have a date, they don't have a location, they don't have a list of sponsors that have been made public yet. So we don't really know much more than that. And it's neat to see that, but I think until we start really seeing the concrete information unfold, then we can judge whether Streams 3 is going to be a success or not.
Here's the deal with that. They're out trying to get Streams 3 on television.
Oh.
That was implied. I didn't have anything concrete.
No, that's the goal. Dick Clark Productions isn't going to... Listen, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to go and get the Streams 3. Here's how I look at this. You say that you are pro the internet. You are about the internet. And then you're going to take an award show to television or try to get a television deal. So what the press release said, because I read it word for word, was, and by the way, if no one wants us on TV, now we come to the internet and do it online.
Mm.
So what message are you sending to the web community? Like, oh, now so the internet is second fiddle to television. So that's what I kind of. So if they had come out and said Streaming 3 is going to be broadcast on the internet. If you want to watch it live, you could go through Stickam. We're going to do YouTube. We're going to do live YouTube broadcast, live Ustream. We are 100% web-based. Now you have my attention.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you say, oh, we're going to try and get it on television to get a network, and then if television says, no, we always have the internet.
It's that minor leagues mentality. And
it's like, what are you doing? It's like, what are you doing? Like, what? You have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to, if you're going to celebrate something, don't try to pretend it's something else.
Exactly. Don't try and go to another medium when you want to celebrate the web, and then you're pushing for a television broadcast of the Streaming Awards. Who cares? No one cares.
So their strategy right from the get-go is off for the
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now I have high hopes for the IAW TV Awards. I hope it's down to earth, classy. I'm gonna support it. I high hopes. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, Rich, thank you for being on the show.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Where can they find you?
Webseriesnetwork.com.
Okay. What about on Twitter?
Go to Webseriesnetwork.com.
It's on there. It's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you need to know about me is on Webseriesnetwork.com. I honestly prefer communicating with people through WSN than on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because I'm on that site literally 24/7. So that's the Plus, we want more members and we want more people on that site.
Yeah. So everyone go to webseriesnetwork.com right now and sign up for an account and join the conversation with Rich and the rest of us. Now, Chris, where can people find you?
YouTube.com/WatchVenusSpa.
That's right, and Chris is on there a lot. And for myself, you can on YouTube, you can go youtube.com/TBonePearson. Or just go into the search and put in Spell Fury. You'll find me. Or you can go to my website at spellfury.com. But thanks, guys. This has been an excellent conversation.
Great. It's been a great opportunity to talk to you and catch up. And we'd love to have you on again. And when when all the other stuff's going on, like especially come awards time, we're definitely really going to want it. We need to get together and give our thoughts on what's going on. And it's been great.
Hey, absolutely. Just let me know. And on Travis, let me know when this comes out, and I'll put it on WSN. I'll feature it on WSN, and I'll also put it on our Facebook channel.
Oh, awesome, man. Thanks a lot, Rich. And I just want to thank our sponsor for today's episode, spidvid.com. Create, collaborate, and make video entertainment. So I'll talk to you guys soon, and thanks a lot, Rich.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.
Bye.